think that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt so long. Like, he's always been such a civil, gentle man to me. And he's always been pretty calm and, like, level-headed when he talks about the differences between him and his wife. And, I mean, that's a sensitive subject. And he never, ever seemed like he was, like, aggressive about it. I mean, he was always just, like, chill, and he never talked ill of his children. He was always so bubbly about them, like, those were his babies. So when all of this happened, I was just like, what the fuck? And
so that brings me to a question real quick. I mean, I don't think anybody over the last 6 or 8 weeks knows this dude better than you. I really don't. You guys probably spend more time together than anybody. Conversation, whatever, relationship. What do you think, what's the catalyst for this event? Do you have you had, and I know it's a hard question, but I want to get it out now we're here. If there's a thought that you have that might lead us to understand a little bit why he might have done something like this. Like I said, I met Chris on Wednesday. So I don't know Chris. Not like you do.
You know, I've thought about this, and sometimes I think to myself, if I wasn't in that man's life, would his family still be alive? And I've thought about this a lot, and I think I could give myself different responses. But in all honesty, I think they might be alive, but not permanently. I do not think that this man just snapped. I don't think that he just met some fucking amazing woman and he was just gonna try to fucking murder his family and then think that I was okay with, like, building a relationship with somebody who did something like that. Like, at what fucking point, you know? And not only that, like, I always try to say, you know, like, when we get to a point where we've been together long enough, I would love to meet your children. Like, I never discluded them from anything. Like, I remember coming back from Colorado Springs, and I was like, oh my god, they got the Cheyenne Zoo down here, you gotta take your kids, and, like, you can feed the giraffes, and they would love it, and, like, I always tried to, like, show him cool things, like, hey, man, would your kids like this? Because my nephew would like this. Like, check this out, you know? Like, I sent him a screenshot of some rainbow unicorn Lucky Charms the other day. I was like, do your daughters know about these? Because I bet these are epic. Like, little things like that where it's, like genuinely, like, I care. I do. Like, despite how messy this is and how I'm sure I'm going to be portrayed in the media and everything, like, I care about, like, his well-being with his children and all of that. And so, for me, like, when I think of what was he going through his head, I find it really hard to believe that I am the catalyst for all of this. I will be willing to say that I think me being in his life accelerated what was inevitably about to happen, but I don't think people just snap. Love does not murder. Hate and resentment murder. That's the way I look at that. I do not know what is the truth anymore and what's not, and I don't have all of the details, but this is just my, like, opinion, but I'm pretty convinced that that woman and him did not get along very well, and the reason they stuck together was, hey, we're going to do kids, and I think they also stuck together because they were in a very bad financial bind, and I think that she continuously disregarded it, and I think he messed up because he was too passive to say anything to her about it and really address it, and it just got to the point where it's just like, you file bankruptcy, and then what do? Just wait till you file the next one? I don't know. I don't know what their finances look like now, but from the way it made it sound, it's probably a pretty stark situation. And I don't know if hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt over and over and over again are enough to lead a man to, like, want to take somebody out, but I don't know. I've heard of people committing suicide over that shit before, and I would never justify what he did. I think it's fucking disgusting. It's, he's such a fucking pig, but I try to, like, be like, why? I try to come up with a why, and I really think that he was struggling with her really bad, and not only that, he's got a third child on the way, and I know he was probably just like, I can't fucking afford a third kid. Wants it, but can't afford it, you know? And he always told me he, like, wanted a little boy. You know, he wanted a third child. And so I think that It was just something like, I think they were in a financial situation, and I think she was very non-responsive to him trying to like solve problems and like get out of the situations that they were in. And I think people just get complacent is what it is. And then, you know, I think he met me, and I think I was like a breath of fresh air for him, where it was like he could get away and just be like, you know what, I can be myself. I don't have to worry about money right now. Like, you know, and this girl, like, I have my shit together. Like, my life is so, like, very in order.
Very organized and independent and...
Always. Like, I do really good at work. I have, like, almost a perfect credit score. I've been saving money for a house. Like, I don't mess around. I mean, I screwed up. This is, like, my one screw-up ever, and it's about to be on, like, national news. But, just very dialed in, and I think it was, like, a breath of fresh air for him to, like, be around something like that, because I don't think that he knew that that was, like, a real thing. And he had told me that, like, numerous times. Like, I didn't know, like, women like you, like, existed. I was just like, all right, like, I don't, and when he meant it, it was just like the way you run your life. And so, because he got married really young, you know, and so, to answer your question, I think inevitably it was going to happen. I think it just got propelled faster. I mean, I don't understand what he would have achieved if he wanted to be with me that bad, what he would have achieved with me by doing what he did. I think his situation at home was way, way deeper than anything him and I ever had, and it led to that. And I don't know what happened in that conversation that they had, but I kind of have a feeling that it wasn't even about her pregnancy or another man or me. I have a feeling it was about money.
So, drilling down, do you think money for him is the biggest downfall? You guys, I mean, beyond their relationship, really, I don't know that you know too much about the relationship or the particular issues other than monetary issues, financial issues. That sounds like what you guys talked about when you talked about their relationship.
I mean, like, he told me other things, like they really didn't, like, sleep together too much, stuff like that, but I feel like a lot of husbands and wives don't do that. But it was like, oh, of course you don't. That's why you're coming to me, you know? No, I think I just, like, me being in his life just pushed that forward. I honestly think that there's probably a good possibility that this would have just happened. Like, further down the road, where it would have just...
Did you see that before yesterday or Tuesday, or was that just kind of something that you have reflected on and you've thought about this now going, man, now that I see that in this guy, or just because of the lifestyle he was living, and if he didn't get removed from it, this was going to happen sooner rather than later, like you said?
You know, if I was to reflect on anything over, like, the past few weeks, besides, like, the stuff the last few days where you're like, hey, is there, like, any red flags? I would say, like, no. But one thing I did notice one time is we were sitting on my couch, and I was telling him, like, my house, I have a really beautiful house. Like, it's set up, like, really nice. But everything I have is, like, from Craigslist or Goodwill. Like, I have pieced it together, and it's all, or, like, marked down stuff. And I've pieced it together in a way, like, it's pretty, huh? It's a pretty house, but you would never guess that, like, everything I got is, like, super discount. And one day we were sitting on my couch, and we were just, like, bullshitting about some stuff. And I was telling him, like, oh, yeah, you know, like, I got this marked down in American Furniture because, like, the corner was dented. And, like, I got this one off a guy on Craigslist. And I put it all, and I was, like, telling him, I was, like, I put it all together. And I was, like, to me, I was, like, material things don't make a home. I was like, it's the energy and the love that you bring to the home. I was like, it's not about what it looks like. I was like, it's about what you, like, bring to it, like, mentally. And he, like, collapsed in my lap and gave me, like, the biggest, most genuine hug I think that man has ever given me. And he just laid there, and he was just like, you are so different. And I didn't even say anything. I just, like, put my fingers in his hair and just let him chill there. And I assumed that it had to do with the finances. But it didn't, like, stress me out. It was just, like, this relief sigh where he just, like, dropped into my arms. And I didn't, like, really think too much of that event, except for that I was, like, this was, like, it was, like, a really genuine hug, like, collapsed into my lap, like, just so relieved. And I didn't really think much of it until, like, I started reading about, like, their bankruptcy and all this other shit, and I was like, oh. So I think it might have been bigger than he let on, because he never told me about his bankruptcy.
Sure.
You know, he just told me about his current financials, and he didn't even get that in depth, but I'm assuming they're trash. And so, yeah, I think her spending all that money and not listening to him, and him not standing up for himself in a calm and, you know,
Just elevate.
yeah, manner.
Last question
kinda,
regarding this.
Go ahead.
And then I have just 2 cursory questions regarding something else, and then I think maybe Tim has a few questions for you. But I think what you say about the finances directly at his wife. Do you think that goes to the children as well? Because she took, did she treat them like that, like they were gold and they got everything as well that you know of? Or do you think there's a separate issue for why he may have done what he did to his children other than financial?
That part I don't have an answer for. I can't fucking explain that. I don't even think there is an answer. I don't even think there's any sort of like computing up here that could possibly give a rational explanation for why that would have happened. I mean, the only thing that I've honestly thought of when I play the scenario over in my head is that maybe they woke up and saw him doing in their mom, and he was like, fuck. Now I gotta do this too. I don't know. I'm like, why? Because they were like his, like, little lifeline, you know, he that was everything to him, you know, and I get, like, those two have problems.
But he had a great relationship, but from what you're accounting is...
With his
He
kids?
loves his children.
Yeah, like, that part, oh my God, that's the worst part of this whole mess. The worst part of this whole mess.
We won't. We don't have to.
No.
Let me ask you...
But, so no, I don't have an explanation. That's the only thing I can possibly think of is maybe they saw it, but other than that, I don't know what the fuck.